one thing I remember, that you can drive around anywhere around downtown Poughkeepsie and find every kind of architecture ever made.
I just love Poughkeepsie. We're seeing that, people being drawn back to cities. This is a great one to be drawn to. So the Historic District Land Preservation Commission was started here in the city of Poughkeepsie in the early 90s to help preserve, enhance, protect many of our historic landmarks, which probably prior to that may have been neglected a bit. So this group of individuals are dedicated to that mission.
Generally, we're looking for something that's older than 30 years. It has to have some significance historically. It has to have some significance to the city. It could be a great example of a particular style of architecture. It could be associated with a significant resident of the city of Poughkeepsie. There's a few criteria, but generally something that's old and something that's valuable in some not just historic but local way to the residents of the city of Poughkeepsie.
It's very complicated, and you have to go before at least 2 of the 3 commissions. The City Commission expects an application. You have to be put on the agenda. It's called a nomination. And Holly Wahlberg, this amazing historian, she is very interested in the preservation in the city of Poughkeepsie, and so she helped research the history of my home, including land maps and details of the original architect and owner. She went into great detail about the architectural features of the house, which are original, and it was a 22-page document that got submitted to the City of Poughkeepsie Commission, including photographs of the exterior of the house and the interior, all of the beautiful hinges and the plinth blocks and the gorgeous Greek key inlay floor, and all of the reasons why the home should be protected and preserved. If the state of New York agrees to landmark your home or your property, then it's pretty much a guarantee that the national level will also accept it.
A certificate of appropriateness states that you came before the commission, the applicant owner came before the commission with exterior renovations or changes to the home, and we approve it as an appropriate alteration. The process of renovating an exterior of a house, that's our purview as the Historic District Landmarks Preservation Commission. Our purview is only the exterior of the house and the land, the yard around it. The historic districts in our city are Garfield Place and Academy Street, Main Street Row, there's Dwight Street, Hooker Avenue Historic District, Mill Street Historic District, Little Italy. Now, Mr. Bain, his significance in our community, he was the head of the Poughkeepsie Gas and Light Company, which later became Central Hudson.
The whole process of historic renovation and preservation is quite complicated, actually. You really have to do your homework. So I was very fortunate. I have an amazing team. Catherine Whitman is my architect, and Steve Cruz is the painter, Greg Madsen is the carpenter, and we're still working for the construction company that's going to actually build the new porch. The colors are also extremely important. The commission will only approve certain colors. The exterior still needs to historically be accurate. Once we work with heritage colors, we have a general idea of the deep wine colors, or say the slate blue colors that might be in the house, or the teals, or even maybe it's a gold color that was used. I don't have any evidence of the original colors of my house, except for a black and white photograph that does show the body was lighter than the trim.
There are a variety of historically appropriate paints that we use. I lean towards Benjamin Moore paints very much because they're scientifically superior, and they pay a lot of attention to the historical color palette, the origins of colors from the 1800s, from the 1700s. they've developed an entire palette appropriate to these houses. What excites me about restoration is to take an old rundown house and turn it into a gem. It's a diamond in the rough every time.
And I would say to anybody who's interested in renovating and restoring an old home, come with great patience, extra money, and a lot of love. I'm Kim Breeden, and I'm the proud owner of the Bain House.
Well, I love historic things, and I love the history of this great city, and we've got a lot of it, right? So we need to preserve it, because it is something that we get to celebrate in the city of Poughkeepsie that not every other community has that benefit. So it is what you would call a community benefit to preserve, but also to highlight what you have in the community that makes it such a special place to live and to visit.